here is the cold, hard truth. When you have that specific trio on the floor, you are looking at one of the most stagnant offenses in the entire association. It is baffling. You ask yourself, how is that possible with three elite scorers? The issue is redundancy. They all operate in the same spaces. We walked into this matchup knowing their size and power advantage. I genuinely felt we did enough to secure the victory tonight. We tried to play the right way and move the rock, but that is just how the game goes sometimes. The Los Angeles Lakers are deep in the clutch against the Orlando Magic. The King, arguably the best to ever lace them up, steps to the charity stripe and bricks the free throw. Orlando secures the board. Paolo Banchero pushes the tempo, attacks the paint, and collapses the defense. The Lakers completely lose track of Desmond Bane on the perimeter. LeBron scrambles to close out, but he is a step slow. Bane drills the three right in his face and immediately starts chirping at James. The Lakers burn a timeout to stop the bleeding. They draw up a scheme, but what unfolds next is easily the most humiliating sequence of the entire season. In the aftermath, it was basically LeBron James and Luka Doncic tossing each other under the bus. Look, dropping a 1-point game to a quality squad usually isn't cause for panic, but the chaos that ensued in the dying seconds, and more critically, the passive-aggressive comments in the post-game presser might just be the flashpoint. That exposes a fatal flaw. The Lakers can no longer sweep under the rug. We are talking about two of the most gifted passers and playmakers the game has ever seen, publicly shifting the blame without explicitly saying the words. If you think the drama is bad, wait until you see the stats. Before we dive into the numbers, do me a favor and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates on this unfolding disaster. The analytics are even uglier than the locker room tension. What I am about to break down is going to completely alter your perspective on this Lakers roster. When you peel back the layers and look at the advanced metrics of LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reaves sharing the court versus staggering their minutes, the drop-off is not just significant, it is historically atrocious. I am talking about efficiency numbers you would expect from a lottery team. I have a mountain of evidence to unpack for you guys today, but first, let's talk about winning. No, not like the Lakers right now, I mean your wallet. I have been cashing in on one of the wildest strategies lately. I am going to hook you up with a lock for tonight's slate in just a second. But the secret behind this winning streak is my partnership with an exclusive Discord community of sharps who crush the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Since football season wrapped up, I pivoted to their baseball picks. I admit, I know zero about baseball, yet I have been undefeated all through spring training. If you want to ride this wave with us, check out the second link in the description below, marked with a W, join the squad. Now, let's get to the plays for tonight. If you haven't jumped on Prize Picks yet, use my promo code microphone to unlock an instant matchup to $50 when you play just $5 or more. Take that bonus cash and tail this slip. I am locking in Andrew Wiggins to grab more than 5 rebounds. I am taking Grayson Allen to go over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. And I have VJ Edgecombe surpassing 24 points, rebounds, and assists. I am putting down the $50 I got just for signing up with code microphone. If this parlay hits, I flip that sign-up bonus into $300 of cold hard cash. Huge shout out to Prize Picks for powering today's breakdown. Mic check, 1, 2. What is up, everyone? Let's get back to the madness. Wendell Carter Jr. tips in a miss with 6.7 seconds on the clock, putting Orlando up 110-109. The Lakers call time. JJ Redick grabs the clipboard, and per reports, the play was drawn up specifically for Luka. LeBron triggers the inbound. Luka curls off screen set by Austin Reaves and DeAndre Ayton, catching the rock on the left wing, well behind the arc. He is completely alone. You have watched Luka Doncic bury this exact shot 1,000 times. This is his bread and butter. The man is putting up 32.8 points a night. This is a shot he usually takes in his sleep, but inexplicably, he hesitates. He puts the ball on the floor, tries to inch closer, and kills his dribble. The moment he does that, Banchero and Anthony Black swarm him with a suffocating double team. Now he is stranded. No dribble, 0 timeouts remaining, and LeBron is drifting on the wing with Jonathan Isaac draped all over him. Panic sets in. Luka pivots and flings a grenade to LeBron, who catches it with a mere 2.9 seconds left. James is already off balance, completely smothered, and forced to heave a 27-foot fadeaway prayer that doesn't even sniff the rim. Ball game. But the missed shot isn't even the headline here. The real story is the finger pointing that started the second the buzzer sounded. Both superstars took the podium and in their own unique ways shifted the blame to the other guy. LeBron hit the microphone first and dropped this bombshell. Look, you have to ask Luka what he saw in that moment. I thought he had a clean look. I was pretty much falling out of bounds when he passed it to me. In my eyes, he had a great shot. On the surface, that sounds like typical LeBron diplomacy. The man has navigated the media for 2 decades. He is a PR machine. But make no mistake, he is saying Luka had the shot, Luka choked, and by the time he passed the buck, the possession was dead. He is effectively washing his hands of the loss. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see how this drama plays out in the next game. It is getting spicy in Los Angeles. Check this out. We are talking about a veteran with more than 20 seasons in the association. He is arguably the most PR-savvy superstar on the planet, so listen to the spin. He insists that Luka had a clean look and absolutely should have pulled the trigger. His argument is that by the time the rock was dished his way, the play was already dead in the water. It feels like he is essentially, it was a masterclass in shifting the blame without technically saying a name. It didn't take long for the internet to catch on, noticing how quickly LeBron James threw his running mate under the bus. It is honestly wild to watch. Then you have Luka facing the music, and you have to respect it. He immediately fell on the sword. He basically said, I saw a lane, I panicked, I didn't want to turn it over, we were out of timeouts. I should have held on to the rock. I should have been aggressive. I thought the lane was clear, but that mistake is entirely on my shoulders. That is what accountability looks like. But stick around, because when a reporter pressed him with the $1 million question, Luka's answer revealed the ugly truth. They asked, did you and LeBron talk about that final sequence once the buzzer sounded? The answer? A hard no. Absolutely frosty. No debrief, no discussion, zero communication. The 2 superstars who are supposed to be driving this franchise didn't even exchange a word about the game-deciding error. But before we get into the stats that are going to blow your mind, here is the rumor setting social media on fire. Multiple insiders courtside claim Luka was overheard muttering, he told me to pass it. So I passed it, followed by a frustrated shrug. If that is accurate, it flips the entire script. If LeBron demanded the ball and Luka just followed orders, then LeBron stepping up to the mic and saying, go ask Luka is next level deflection. To make matters stickier, Luka admitted his own cold streak from the field probably played a massive role in his indecision. He was building a brick house, shooting 8 for 24 overall and a dismal 2 for 10 from deep. When asked if those missed shots were haunting him during that final possession, he confessed, thinking about my struggles from the 3-point line tonight, yeah, maybe that hesitation crept in a little bit. Now, casual fans might obsess over one botched play to get clicks, but if you have been following this channel, you know the rot goes much deeper. This is the exact disaster scenario I warned you about when the Lakers pulled the trigger on the Luka Doncic trade. And again, this past summer when James picked up his player option. The analytics are now undeniable. If you appreciate raw data over narratives, make sure to like and subscribe right now. The Big Three experiment of LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reaves is statistically one of the most disastrous star trios in the entire NBA. I am not being hyperbolic. We need to dissect these lineup combinations because the numbers are frightening. When those three share the court, the Lakers limp to a 110.6 offensive rating and a 118.5 defensive rating. That results in a net rating of -7.8. To give you some context, that is the statistical profile of a team tanking for the lottery. They are shooting a mediocre 36.7% from downtown while letting opponents torch them at 37.5%. This trio was built on the promise of an unstoppable offense that could mask their defensive flaws. Instead, their 110.6 offensive rating would sit near the league's basement if extrapolated over a full 82 games. Heavy Sports reports that is 8.3 points worse than the Lakers' average team rating of 116. Let that marinate for a second. The team gets significantly worse at scoring when their three best players are playing together. And stop with the small sample size excuse. Cleaning the Glass data shows this trio has logged 695 minutes together, getting outscored by 32 points with a minus 2.2 net rating. Their defense during those 695 minutes has been abysmal. We are talking a 120.5 defensive rating, which would rank them dead last in the NBA team standings. Now, here is the plot twist. Watch what happens when you subtract one specific superstar from the mix. When you run just Luka and Austin Reaves without LeBron, the script flips completely. That duo skyrockets to a 126.4 offensive rating and locks down with a 108.5 defensive rating in 277 minutes. That is a massive plus. 17.9 net rating, they shoot 37.4% from deep while choking opponents out to just 33.2%. That isn't just solid, that is elite on both ends of the floor. That is a championship resume. Brian Windhorst even went on First Take and said the quiet part out loud. When you put Luka, LeBron, and Reaves together, the chemistry evaporates. They have been using the excuse that injuries have limited their reps together over the last 2 years. But the math does not lie, okay? When Reaves and Doncic run the show, the Lakers look like contenders. When you force the trio, they look broken. It is literally a 20-point swing. If you normalize it per 100 possessions, there is a massive gap in performance. There is a 20-point differential in quality. They transform into one of the league's most anemic offenses when all three share the floor. How is that possible? All three are elite scorers. The issue is redundancy. They all occupy the same spaces and roles. It is madness, especially when you realize LeBron James is cashing checks for $52.6 million to turn a potential title contender into a lottery squad. Now, I want to be fair and show you the full picture. So, what happens when you pair LeBron and Reaves without Luka? That combination is actually respectable. We are looking at an 18.5 offensive rating paired with a 109.7 on defense across 322 minutes. That nets out to a plus 8.8 rating. It sounds decent, but do not pop the champagne just yet. While they are knocking down 37.6% from deep and holding opponents to just 31.2%, the surface stats are deceiving. The chemistry we are seeing is largely an illusion held together by Austin Reaves. His elite spacing and movement provide the oxygen LeBron James needs to breathe. However, here is the stat that should send shivers down the spine of every person wearing purple and gold. When you take Reaves off the floor and leave LeBron and Luka to run the show alone, that net rating does not just dip, it crashes into the basement at a -5. We are talking about a sample size of 118 minutes here. That is absolute catastrophe. You have two of the most gifted passers in the history of the sport, yet when they are left to figure it out by themselves, the Lakers are getting run out of the building. And before you brush this off, hit that like button if you want unbiased analysis, because this isn't just me cherry-picking numbers. My guy Jovan Buha over at The Athletic broke it down perfectly. Sure, the Lakers are sitting pretty at 8-4 in the 12 games the Big Three have played together, but look at who beat them. Their 4 losses came against the heavyweights, the Spurs, Rockets, Celtics, and Suns. And they did not just lose, they got stomped by double digits in every single one of those matchups. That is the red flag right there. Against the bottom feeders, this trio can cruise on talent alone, but the second they face a real contender, they get exposed. Let's stack them up against the competition. Denver's core of Jokic, Murray, and Gordon is torching the league with a 127.5 offensive rating. Over in OKC, the Shai, Williams, and Holmgren lineup is dominating at 121.5. Even the Spurs' young group of Wemby, Fox, and Castle is posting a 116.5. Meanwhile, the Lakers' star trio is languishing at 107.5 dead last among elite groups, and it isn't even close. The fit is clunky, sure, but there is a deeper behavioral issue with Luka Doncic that is actively sabotaging this roster. The media has finally run out of patience. We need to talk about the incessant, non-stop whining to the officials. I am not exaggerating for clicks here. Even the Lakers' own home broadcast team is fed up. Before we break down the film, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next update. Now, rewind to the Celtics game. Luka pulls up for a three, he drains it, but immediately convinces himself Jaylen Brown fouled him for a 4-point play. Instead of sprinting back to stop the ball, Hugo Gonzalez sees the opening, leaks out, and takes it all the way for an uncontested layup while Luka is still in the backcourt pleading his case. It is almost like Boston scouted this exact weakness and exploited it ruthlessly. And we saw the exact same script flip against the Orlando Magic. You do not have to dig deep to find clips of Luka debating the refs while the other team sprints 5-on-4 the other way. Zach Lowe, one of the sharpest minds in NBA media, went absolute scorched earth on his podcast about this specific habit. He called the whining out of control, saying it has regressed to the absolute worst days of his Dallas tenure. It is every single play. Just play the game, man. Not every contact is a whistle. Are you trying to draw fouls or are you trying to play winning basketball? You have to pick one. Is this a one-on-one debate club with the referee or is this an NBA game? It has infected every possession. It is spiraling out of control, back to those old toxic levels. And frankly, it is becoming unwatchable. Lowe nailed it. It is relentless. He pointed out that Luka is burning so much emotional energy, screaming at officials that he is failing to transition to defense, directly gifting points to the opposition. In that Magic game, Luka was busy arguing a no call on a fadeaway in the third quarter. While he stood there frozen, Anthony Black breezed down the floor for a layup with zero resistance. The Lakers play-by-play voice, Bill McDonald, lost it live on air, yelling, "He is complaining again. You have to get back. It is 5-on-4. They put it up and in for an and one." This is not a new narrative. The Charlotte broadcast team labeled him a whiner back in January. They did not mince words. Stan Van Gundy also ripped into him during the NBA Cup quarterfinals against San Antonio for hanging his teammates out to dry on defense. And then Tim McMahon went on ESPN's Get Up and delivered a line that had to hurt. He said Luka has had two fatal flaws his whole career: conditioning and crying. He fixed his body, but the crying is as bad as it has ever been. It becomes even more ridiculous when you realize Luka is leading the entire league in free throw attempts at 10.8 per night. He is living at the line, yet he is still throwing tantrums over the calls he doesn't get. He has already racked up 13 technical fouls this year. He is 2 away from his career high and just 3 shy of an automatic suspension. This team is 34-23, clinging to the 6th seed. They cannot afford for him to sit. Every possession is critical, and Luka is throwing them away to have chats with the refs instead of locking in. Zach Lowe is spot on. We are watching a basketball savant who can manipulate the game at will, yet the headline is always his attitude. That is the tragedy here. No one doubts the skill. The man is putting up 32.5 points, 7.8 boards, and 8.6 assists. He is playing at an MVP level, but the antics are ruining the product. Elite numbers on the stat sheet, sure. But watch the tape, the slumped shoulders, the constant bickering with officials, and the blown defensive coverages are actively sinking this ship. When you mix those bad vibes with the reality that the so-called Big Three has absolutely atrocious chemistry, you are looking at a roster hitting a glass ceiling they simply do not have the power to smash through. The eye test doesn't lie. This squad flows significantly better when Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves run the offense without the king involved. That forces us to ask the uncomfortable question: does LeBron James actually have a future with this franchise? If you listen to the chatter around the league, the Lakers front office has already mentally packed his bags. According to insider reports, Plan A is locked in. Executives believe Los Angeles is preparing to cut ties with James to fully hand the keys over to their younger superstar, Luka Doncic. Scouts have been blunt with reporters, noting that a lineup featuring Reaves, Doncic, and an aging LeBron simply cannot defend at a championship level. That aligns perfectly with the analytics. Plus, the finances make this a total no-brainer. Before we talk money, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the cap space chaos. LeBron is collecting $52.6 million on an expiring deal to arguably clog up the system. If they let him walk, they unlock over $50 million in space to build a fortress around Luka. Reaves is set to opt out and resign a fresh deal starting at $41.5 million, which LA can easily absorb to keep their core intact. Rival general managers see the writing on the wall. One Eastern Conference exec didn't mince words, stating the first priority is moving off LeBron. Let him walk, then use that cash to retool the roster specifically for Doncic. Retaining Austin Reaves is the non-negotiable part of this reset. Now, publicly, the Lakers are playing nice. Rob Pelinka went on record saying he wants James to retire wearing purple and gold, regardless of whether that is in 2026 or 27. But let's be real for a second. That fairy tale ending only happens if LeBron takes a massive pay cut. You cannot construct a title contender around Luka while paying James nearly $60 million. In his entire career, LeBron has taken a discount exactly once, and that sacrifice in South Beach led directly to 2 rings. But even if the money worked out, you cannot ignore the fact that the James Doncic Reaves trio is a spacing nightmare on the hardwood. What is the alternative? Asking the all-time leading scorer to come off the bench? There is zero chance he agrees to that. Even before this latest flare-up, the breakup was already in motion. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss these updates. An ESPN report revealed how the Doncic trade fundamentally shifted the power dynamic. Just 4 days after the Timberwolves sent the Lakers packing last April, the new power brokers Luka, Jay, Redick, and Pelinka were spotted dining at Craig's in West Hollywood. They were sipping wine and mapping out the next era. LeBron James, he wasn't on the guest list. The optics were brutal. The group entered through the front, Luka slipped in the back, but they all exited the main door to ensure the paparazzi got the shot. The message was loud and clear. Luka Doncic is the face of Los Angeles now. The disrespect hasn't been subtle. Luka was briefed on the ownership sale to Mark Walter. LeBron was left in the dark. James is also reportedly fuming that the front office ignored requests for a true center, something Anthony Davis specifically demanded during exit interviews. AD told them exactly what he needed, and shortly after, the relationship soured completely. So, what is the exit strategy for the King? Rumors are swirling that LeBron could shock the world by signing with a new team for the veteran minimum next season. I know, hearing that number makes me sick too, but we are talking about roughly $3.9 million. The play here is banking on the massive paycheck from a Last Dance-style documentary covering his farewell tour. This wasn't possible a year ago. According to Anthony Lima from 92.3, the fan media execs believe the streaming rights to LeBron's final ride could spark a bidding war reaching $40 to $75 million. Do the math on that. He takes $4 million from the team, then rakes in up to $75 million from Netflix, Amazon, or whoever wins the rights. He would literally earn significantly more from the camera crew trailing him than from the actual basketball games. Lima broke it down perfectly. He joins a title contender for pennies and still gets paid like a superstar via the content rights. Throw in his final marketing, campaigns, and it is a genius move. It would completely revolutionize how superstars handle retirement seasons. Plus, LeBron owns the infrastructure to make it happen via Spring Hill Entertainment. He already produced Starting Five with Netflix and has projects with Apple. He has the tools to execute this, unlike that absolute disaster from 6 years ago. I just hope we could toss that aside, because suddenly the door to Cleveland is creaking open again. ESPN's Tim McMahon just dropped a bombshell on NBA Today, revealing exactly what the rumors are swirling about. Word on the street is that this summer could feature a massive reunion and potentially a legendary retirement. Tour back home with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here is the catch. The Cavs can only offer him the veteran minimum, which would be the steepest pay cut in history, dropping from $52.6 million down to roughly $3.9 million. But let's be real. If LeBron is raking in $50+ million on the side from a documentary deal, that NBA paycheck is just a formality. And if that isn't spicy enough, there is another layer to this story. According to Eric Pincus, there is a whisper going around the league that LeBron is eyeing the throne as the face of an NBA expansion team in Las Vegas. The blueprint looks like this. LeBron retires, Rich Paul sells his remaining stake in Clutch Sports to UTA, and with that war chest, they pivot into an ownership group for a Vegas franchise. The NBA hasn't signed off on expansion yet, but Vegas and Seattle are the heavy favorites. And the league is expected to start hearing pitches from potential owners this spring. Now, Rich Paul has pushed back on the narrative that he and LeBron have their business interests that tangled. And some reports suggest Paul might not be keen on selling Clutch considering how fast the agency is still growing. But the fact that this rumor keeps surfacing and now Bleacher Report is flagging it alongside the retirement talk tells you this isn't just fan fiction. Insiders are genuinely prepping for the possibility that LeBron James goes from the hardwood to the owner's suite in a single offseason. According to Fortune, a Vegas expansion team with an arena could run up a bill of $7 billion. Obviously, LeBron wouldn't handle that tag alone, but being the face of the bid, that is the ultimate legacy play. And I am sure he has noticed what Tom Brady is pulling off in Vegas. By the way, if you missed that story, my evil twin brother microphone has a whole video on it. Technically, the man is cheating. So, where does this leave the Lakers? They are sitting at 34-23, holding on to 6th in the West, and currently sliding on a 2-game losing streak after back-to-back drops to the Celtics and Magic. They went 4-4 on their 8-game homestand, and the playoff race in the West is getting tighter by the second. They need to distance themselves from the play-in tournament, and right now, they are failing. The numbers don't lie. Luka and Reaves are the future of this franchise, and they are already performing at a championship level. That plus 17.9 rating when it is just those two versus the minus 7.8 when all three share the floor is a massive 25-point swing. We do not need more data to see this isn't clicking. And you factor in that LeBron and Luka together without Reaves is an atrocious -5, you realize the problem isn't Luka or LeBron individually. It is the mix. You have two generational playmakers who both need the rock, who both operate best in the same paints, and whose defensive flaws compound each other when they share the court. Austin Reaves is the glue guy. He is the one making the stars work. He brings the spacing, the movement, the off-ball energy, and enough defensive hustle to cover for the other two. Before LeBron even made his season debut, the Luka and Reaves duo went 8-3, proving they could produce winning basketball without the all-time leading scorer. That is not a small sample fluke, folks. That is a trailer for what the post-LeBron Lakers could be. Don't get me wrong. LeBron is still one of the most productive players in the game. He is averaging 21.7 points and 7.1 assists, while shooting nearly 50% from the field in his 23rd season. That is absurd. That is Father Time taking another loss. But the uncomfortable truth is that his presence on this specific roster, alongside this specific version of Luka Doncic, is making the team worse, not better. At some point, you have to stop blaming vibes and start looking at the fit. This summer is shaping up to be one of the most critical off seasons in Lakers history. Does LeBron James retire? Does he take a veteran minimum somewhere and film a Last Dance style doc that pays him more than his actual contract? Does he head back to Cleveland for one final ride? Does he chase a ring with Golden State next to Steph Curry for the ultimate team up? Or does he walk away entirely to build a $7 billion empire in Las Vegas? Whatever happens, one thing is locked in. That final play against the Magic, where Luka hesitated and LeBron bricked it, where neither guy spoke to the other afterward, where both pointed fingers. Without actually pointing fingers, that might be the lasting image of this partnership. Two legends who were never quite on the same frequency. If this is your first time here, smash that subscribe button right now. Otherwise, YouTube might hide my beautiful face from you forever. Other than that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm out, washing his hands of the loss. What is your take? Smash that like button and subscribe for more NBA drama. We are signing off until the next video goes live.